Hey, Paul Peck here again. Today I'm answering a skim coating question that I get all the time. And if you have a question, be sure to drop it down in the comments and it might get featured on my next video. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll show you all the tools you need to skim coat, and yes, even skim coat with the paint roller. So stick around and check that out as well. So that skim coating question is, why do you sometimes roll on the joint compound with a paint roller and then skim it out, and other times you just use a drywall knife to apply the skim coat? Well, rolling on the skim coat with a paint roller first is a great technique for two people because you can go super fast. It's also a great technique for beginners or DIYers because it lays out a nice consistent coat of the joint compound, and then you can just take your taping knife and wipe it down. And I've found that that's the most difficult thing that DIYers and beginners have to do, is get the joint compound on the wall. It's usually very inconsistent if they're trying to do it with a taping knife, but the roller certainly makes it way easier and more consistent. I like to use the rolling technique when I have two people, or sometimes I'll use it on a ceiling, but usually it's with two people and not by myself. Because if I'm by myself, I have to start and stop. I have to stop to roll and then start back up. If I just get to it and skim coat with a knife, I can move a lot faster. And here's a few reasons why you might want to skim coat by hand first. The first coat, when you're going over a texture, a lot of times you don't want to thin it down enough to use with a paint roller because it needs to be probably a thick pancake batter consistency, which means when you're going over a texture, you want to keep the body of the joint compound intact so you don't have to keep doing multiple coats. Meaning that if it's too thin, it's not going to cover real good over texture, especially if it's a heavy texture like a painted popcorn ceiling that you're going to skim coat over, or even a knockdown or skip trowel texture. The first coat I usually don't put on with a roller. And like I said previously, I think I can go faster without the roller if I'm by myself. Now, two people is a whole nother story, but that's not going to change going over a heavy texture. You don't want to use a roller. You want to do it by hand first. So that can be a deterrent for beginners and DIYers, but that's just the facts. However, if you've never heard of a skim coating blade, that could offset not being able to use a paint roller to apply the joint compound to a textured surface, simply because you can get a 36-inch skim coating blade, and that will definitely speed up the process and is a little more forgiving when it comes to how much joint compound you did put on a ceiling or a wall. Tools I'm going to be using to roll on the joint compound with. I'm using a USG all-purpose joint compound, 20-volt DeWalt cordless drill that I'll be using, and a paint mixer to thin down the joint compound. You want to thin it down to about a yogurt consistency. I'll also be using a 14-inch mud pan, 12-inch drywall taping knife, 6-inch drywall taping knife. This is the roller I'll be using. It's a 3/4-inch lambskin roller cover, and then a roller handle, and a 5-gallon paint grid to roll off the excess joint compound so I can get a nice consistent coat on the wall. And if you want to catch the next video or any of my upcoming videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button now in the center of the screen to keep up with all my videos. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I'll leave some of my most popular video links down below in the description. Thanks so much for watching.